noise because we have the legend himself, Mr. Tom Savini.
Yeah!
There you go, patient. Well, what do you want to know?
Everything.
Well, that's why I'm here. Yeah.
Which head explosion do you think is better, the Prowler or Maniac?
Which head explosion do I think is better? The Prowler is pretty good, but Maniac, that was me.
Yeah.
I blew my own head off. How often do you get to do that? So yeah, I think Maniac.
Sweet.
But didn't I do it when I did it with Dawn of the Dead, Maniac, the Prowler? Is that it?
Let's see. I think those are the three that came.
Oh, three head explosions.
Yeah.
Creep show
Creep show.
puts the shotgun in his head.
Oh, I
That
could
was
Stephen
it.
King's head off.
Yeah.
But that wasn't as spectacular as Maniac. Anybody else? Yeah.
What's your favorite part about running your school?
What's the favorite part of running the school? You know, graduation day, when I'm sitting there, and there's like 40 people with caps and gowns on, and they're now special makeup effects artists, you know. I remind them of that, and that makes them feel pretty good, you know. But then they're going to walk out the doors and find a career. That's the hard part, you know. But that's my favorite, I think. Actually, two things are my favorite. The day they arrive, when they spend their first day with me, you know. And then graduation, watching those people after gone through 16 months of training. Anybody else? Well, go ahead. What's my favorite movie that I've worked with? It's kind of hard to beat From Dusk Till Dawn.
Sex Machine.
My job for 3 days was to watch Salma Hayek do the snake dance. That was my job. I got paid for that. I got paid for that. Yeah, well, somebody had it. Yeah, over there, yeah.
How much do those contact lenses hurt Jack Ripper?
The contact lenses for what?
Jack Ripper that you were in way back.
Oh, you had to say the river. You know, I made a promise a long time ago that if anybody said the river, I would kneel down and apologize for making But I don't do that anymore because my friends and I sat around and we named all the shitty movies that I did, or I was involved in. And there were 29 of them. Then we counted the good ones, and there were 33 of them. So I've done more good ones than bad ones. Anybody else? Yeah.
With Robert,
I can't hear you.
anything with Robert?
I can't hear you.
Are you planning to do anything with Robert? Yes.
He hasn't asked me in a while, but, you know, anything can happen. I did hear from him recently. Oh, I sent him, you know the artificial intelligence photo that you can have done, Lenza? So I sent him a bunch of those, and he loved them. Because, you know, we're fans of each other. We're constantly texting. You have a question? I can't hear you. The last thing I did was the black phone. Anybody see the black phone? I did the math. Anybody else? Yeah, the record.
How was it like with
I don't remember much about that. He came, we cast his head, we made the mask. But you know, he bought Famous Monsters magazine. He and Evan from Mad Monster Park Conventions. They want to redo the cover of the first Famous Monsters. You know, Frankenstein and the Model. And I redid it with Forrest Ackerman. So now they want to do it with Corey Taylor and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to that. Did you have a question?
Yeah, how involved were you from Dusk Till Dawn, and who came up with the character Sex Machine?
How involved was isn't that like a James Brown song? He said Sex Machine? I'm sure that's what they got, you know, because he wrote that. How involved because of who I met that I got with. George Clooney, nicest guy I've ever met. Some Hyde, of course. Quentin Tarantino. It was just a blast. Shooting in, it wasn't Mexico, we were in Hollywood. They built the titty twister, at the beginning of the desert, so that was great. And it burned out, had to rebuild it. Anybody else? Yeah, way back there.
What's your favorite monster toy in your collection?
The favorite monster toy in my collection? Well, I do own the Dick Gun. It took a year of begging, but they finally sent it to me. Favorite toy? I don't know. My action figures are full size. I got a full size creature from the Black Lagoon in my garden. Frankenstein, the Theater, Alien. I got an Alien, Predator. So it's kind of hard to pick a favorite. I don't know. I guess it'll always be Frankenstein. It's just so thrilling to have that icon in my house. Yeah, way back there. Wait, what's on your chest there? Can everybody see your chest?
Yes.
Right.
Is there anything that you've not done that you've always wanted?
Where mommy's been.
I've done a lot.
I know.
I've been around a long time. I'm
I mean,
76.
maybe not monsters so much. Not like a fantasy, sci-fi.
Maybe redo one of those, yeah. But I don't know, the first sentence in my book is, the more you do, the more you get to do. So if you're looking to be involved in movies, be good at lots of things. One of those might get you in the door. And once you're in the door, that's when they notice you, and if you're cool, you get. I mean, a guy came to the Creep Show. He was a gopher, what they call a PA. Okay, the guy that goes and buys coffee for people. Before the movie was over, he was the assistant director. So getting in the door is important because you prove yourself, and there's always room for improvement. Somebody that may
Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorite movies. I don't know if you talked about it already. What was it like to be directed by Romero? And for best of all, were you prior to like Tarantino at all, or was it just about
What was it like to be directed by George Romero? I was directed by Quentin. When I was at a convention once in LA, and this kid came up to me, hey, Mr. Savini, I'm a big fan. I work in a video store. I wonder if you would mind coming over there and signing some more. It was Quentin Tarantino when he worked in video store. So I went. And he's hired me 5 times since then. Okay, so, that's why I'm nice to everybody, because they grew up to be Quentin Tarantino's, and Robert Rodriguez's. But working for George, it was like just a bunch of kids hanging around. I would do an effect on George's set, and when it was over, I would make a cricket noise. I don't think I could do it. Anyway, if he made the same cricket noise back to me, it means he loved it and we can move on. That's how we communicate. And people were wondering, hey, what's that we were doing? Making cricket noises. But that was fun. And it's like Robert Rodriguez. If you get up with an idea, yeah, go ahead and do it. Like if you've seen Dusk Till Dawn when my fingers come up over Fred Williamson, I said, hey Robert, look at these fingers. They look like spiders. What if I did? He said, let me see it. So I did it and we shot it 7 times. So same thing with George. He lets you improvise. That's great fun. When you come up with something and you're able to do it. Yeah. Night Rider. What do you want to know about Night Rider? Well, it's the greatest summer I've ever had. I got fencing, riding motorcycles, wearing armor. To me that was a dream come true because I really think I'm born in the wrong century. I should be wearing a cape and riding a horse and carrying a sword. Although the bathroom wasn't very good about it. So Night Riders was like reliving a dream.
Do you have any other zombie effects idea in particular that didn't to Day of the Dead?
Do I have any zombie ideas that didn't make it? Yes, quite a few actually. But I'm not going to tell you. You'll steal them and use them in some movie. And in fact, I've got meetings in March in Los Angeles with Ryan Fuller. You know who that is?
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I was at the premiere of The Black Phone in LA, and Ryan Fuller created Hannibal. He's written a Star Trek movie or two, you know. Anyway, he was sitting behind us, and after the movie, we walked outside, we did a picture together. The next day, he posted, I met Tom Savini last night, but I didn't tell him that seeing his photos in Fangoria growing up made me gay. Sure. Those shirts came out the next day. The next day, those shirts came out. All my straight friends want that shirt. Anyway, I've got a meeting with Brian Fuller coming up. He's doing a Friday the 13th TV series. So he I'm kind of picturing him, maybe I should be Jason's father. Video of that so I can show him. Hey, look, they want me to be the father. Any other hands? Yeah, back there.
Is your number still 1-800-HITMAN?
Is what?
Is your number still 1-800-HITMAN?
Oh, 800-HITMAN. Once you dial that, it's a gay porno. Dial 1-800-HITMAN is a gay porno site. I didn't know that, of course, when we shot the movie. Yeah.
Could you tell us more about your experience with directing the Night of the Living Dead remake, and as far as directing Tony Todd as well?
The worst experience. What's the second part?
Of the part of directing Tony Todd as well. That's the lead.
Oh, well, Tony Todd. You didn't have to direct him. We were having auditions for that Night of the Living Dead. Lawrence Fishburne audition. The guy from ER.
Eric LaSalle. Eric LaSalle?
Yeah, he auditioned. And we were done. We were done with the auditions. It was over. And Tony Todd showed up, and he said, "Hey, I'm here for the audition." Well, it's over. And he grabbed me by the lapels and put me against the wall. And he said, "You have to leave." Okay, great. So we gave him the script, and he walked outside for 5 minutes. He came back in without the script, knew all the lines, and produced tears. Now, this is it. I closed the book. That's it. We got that. Because I didn't want Lawrence Fishburne videos. I wanted somebody who looked very much like Dwayne Johnson. And he knew Dwayne Johnson. And that's how he knew all the lines without having to remember. So he was easy. And, all you got to do was point the camera. And, you got that. Very little directing going on. I told him he had one untrue moment. When he's in the basement, everybody's gone. The doors are locked. He finds the gas key, the gas pump key. He's got a cigarette in his mouth, and he starts laughing. But he spits the cigarette out to continue laughing. I said, "No, man, you wouldn't have done that. Just let the cigarette do whatever it wants to do. You're not going to do it." That's his only untrue moment. If you see him, tell him. Anybody else? Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about working on the Hong Kong film back in 1982?
Till Death Do Me Scared, yeah, the film I did in Hong Kong. You know what I did? I just brought all the creep show props over. And we used them in that movie. We created some new stuff, But that was their filmmaking was very primitive. If they wanted smoke or fog, they would build a fire in the wastebasket and put a lid over it. And then take a lid over it, and the smoke filter would be very primitive. So, and when we had an interpreter, I sent him out for some super glue. He came back with a case of rubbers. And he was the interpreter. Who asked me about Quentin? You asked me about Quentin. Anybody see Django Unchained?
Yeah.
Well, I had long hair down here, I had a beard, I was the guy who handled the attack dogs. If you've seen the movie. And you might not recognize me from the movie because I had hair and beard. So the first day I got there, I had to have a 15-minute session with the dogs. The animal trainer was teaching me how to do stuff with the dogs. He would say to the dog, stand up, walk over there. Like the dog understood English, and he did everything the guy said. He said, okay, now I'm going to make him go crazy, and I want you to hang on to him. So he did this, and the dog dragged me 30 feet on my knees. I couldn't, I was like holding a car back. So finally I was able to brace myself, and I was able to hold the dogs for the scene in the movie, okay? But the guy next to me was supposed to say, like Leonardo DiCaprio pulls up in the carriage, and Leo says, shut these dogs up, I can't hear what I'm thinking. And this guy is supposed to say, here's the leashes, but he starts screaming, fuck! And look, and the dogs are attacking him. They tore his pants off, they bit him on the ass cheeks, they dragged him to the ground by his ass, okay? What do we call lunch? We all went to lunch. After lunch, the guy came back with a new wardrobe on, and we did this scene again. And this time he was able to say, get these dogs out of here. He hands me the leashes. Well, I grabbed the leashes, and now the dogs have attacked me. I got a dog on this arm, a dog on this arm. But I didn't stop until Quentin yelled, cut, okay? So we yelled, cut, and the animal trainer said, the reason you still have your arms is because the dogs are trained to attack padding, stunt padding. And I didn't have any padding on myself, but it still hurt. It wasn't their teeth, it was the strength of their jaw. Anyway, we both won. The guy's ass looked like the planet Mars. Anyway, we both wound up going and getting tetanus shots. But the next day, the slave was up the tree, I've got the dogs, and he comes down, and they attach a fake arm to him, and the dogs are supposed to tear off the fake arm. The guy's real arm was behind his back. So every time we shot the scene, you could see the guy's real arm behind his back. And Quentin was getting pretty frustrated, and I didn't want to say anything because it's K&B, my friends, were doing the effects. I'm there as an actor, I'm not going to invade the special makeup. But Quentin walked past me, and I said to him, you remember in Day of the Dead when I did that effect? The guy gets his arm chopped off in Day of the Dead. I said, I dug a hole under him, and his real arm goes into the hole. So you never see it. You only hear the guy's body and the fake arm. I said, but don't say that I said anything. He goes back to the set and he says, why don't you guys leave a hole under him? He got some resistance, but they did it. And it worked beautifully. He did 9 takes, and it was beautiful. The dogs tore the arm off. So I'm standing there, I don't know, about 5 minutes later, Quentin comes by, and he puts something in my hand. And I look, and it's $5. He said, we have a policy on my set that if somebody from another department solves some other department's problem, you're the $5 guy. If I was the $5 hero that day. That's kind of what it's like when Quentin Tarantino said. Now the next day, they have it's about this big. They have this big poster board down there, and it's a swamp. The only hard ground is like 2 or 3 feet on either side of the dirt road. But they brought this big poster board out because I don't know how they do it, but if you fall asleep, like Quentin Tarantino said, they inflate this big purple penis and they put it in your face and they take a picture. So I had fallen asleep on the Tarantino said. But lucky for me, I fell asleep forward and the penis was back here. So they brought this big board out with all the pictures of people who had fallen asleep to ceremoniously add me. So that's kind of what it's like when the Tarantino said. So yeah.
Can you tell us about your experiences working on the burning?
The Burning, my experiences on The Burning. There's some good stuff in The Burning. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think, was that No, that was Tony Melo, a British director, yeah. Well, it was just typical, you know, me killing teenagers in the woods. You know, like, I did so many of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the industry and the materials effects from back in the days and now?
Wait, say that again, about the effects of what?
Can you talk a little bit about the materials?
Oh, the materials?
Yeah.
Well, back then it was foam latex, and you know, now it's silicone, encapsulated silicone. The materials changed, but the science is the same. You know. Yeah, and that's what we teach in my school.
Was it more enjoyable to work with those older materials or the new materials?
No, it's harder.
It's hard.
Yeah, I wish I had CGI back then to cover that. I guess I like CGI when it's done well, you know. But they haven't conquered certain things. CGI.
Right, it's hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me, the only returning character in the Dead series, you played Machete in The Land of the Dead, and you also played a different character, Machete, in the original Dawn of the Dead. Was that being part of the makeup and part of the stage effects? Was that your idea? Was that George Romero's idea? Like, can you talk
No, it was
about
George's idea to put me in Land of the Dead as the character I was in Dawn of the Dead. I'm the only person who's played the same character in more than one George Romero Dead film. You know, when I came back with big baggy eyes, like I was, and Greg the guitar did the makeup. I said, Greg, why do I have these big baggy eyes? Well, you laid them in the fountain. Yeah, but I didn't stay there for a year. You know? So I came right out of the fountain. He thought I should be puffy because I landed in the fountain. But anyway, it was great fun because I got to be Blaze again in Land of the Dead. Yeah, oh, fluctuation. Anybody else? Yeah.
Creep Show 2, were you the creep in the band? What was the shoot like that?
Yeah, Creep Show 2, I was the creep. Yeah. You know, I hate putting makeup on. Really, I hate it. But it lets me realize how I make people feel that I put makeup. Because I hate being sticky, you know? My nightmares are like, my elbow is sticky, or I got glue under my armpits or something. I hate being sticky. So that makeup was really sticky. So I insisted, the only way I'm going to play this part is, when I'm done, I walk into a trailer, it's torn off, and I take a shower immediately. You know, and they did that, I think. So that was my only qualm about Creep Show 2, was to get that makeup off as soon as possible. I loved it. Creep Show 2, I don't remember that being very good. Like the
Raft.
The
Well,
Rams.
that was a big garbage bag. And I made fun of it when I said, that's a garbage bag. They had scuba divers under it, moving it around. Not on my best list. Are you raising your hand yet?
All right, any director you would really like to work with that you haven't worked with previously?
Sure, so maybe Spielberg. You know, who wouldn't want to work with Spielberg? James Cameron. You know, a long time ago, before they did the movie Galaxy of Terror.
Yeah.
You know that movie? They called me when I do the effects on it. This is in LA, Roger Corman. I'm in Pittsburgh. I said, yeah, well, what's your offer? They said, we can give you like $500 a week. I was making 80 grand, you know, a movie. So I turned it down. Now that's the biggest mistake of my life. One of the
Roger
biggest
Corman.
mistakes of my life. Last night I went to sleep thinking of the biggest mistakes in my life, and that was one of them. Because I would got to work and meet James Cameron. Because he was the second human director of that movie.
Yeah.
My life might be different today if I had chosen to do that movie. Anyway, don't ask me about the rest of the list. There's been quite a few mistakes here. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have a favorite effect that you had to kind of improvise day of or pull together last minute?
Favorite effect that I improvised? Well, almost all of Dawn of the Dead. I mean, 80% of Dawn of the Dead are things that I came up with and not in the script. And that's great fun when you get to do something that, you know. But that's like, well, how great it was to work with George. He would let you improvise. You know, so most of Dawn of the Dead is the answer to it. Yeah.
How did the film killing off Jason, the final child,
how did it feel? How did it kill to feel Jason? How did it feel to kill Jason? Well, I created Jason. So it's like Dr. Frankenstein. I got to kill the monster that I created, So, but there was no ending in the script. There was no killing in the script. Just like in part one, there was no ending to the film. In part one, I suggested, why can't Jason come back? And the whole reason the canoe scene is in there, and I said, because I had just seen Carrie, the movie Carrie. At the end, the music comes up like the credits are going to roll in a second. And that hand comes out of the grave. That scares the shit. I said, let's do that. Let's have, but Jason's dead. Yeah, but make it a dream. Because everybody seems to accept if you explain something as a dream. Okay? So that's why. So there was no death in part 4. And I said, how about Tom, Corey Feldman? He's like an amateur inventor. He takes apart a microwave oven and puts a reflector behind the shooter. And he has a variant that goes from 1 to 10. On 1, he melts a toy soldier. I said, why can't he get him to reflect with Jason? Turn it up to 10, stick it in Jason's head, coat Jason's head from within, and have him explode. And the money guy said, no. Friday the 13th is about killing naked teenagers in the woods. Household influence. Okay, the microwave is a household influence. So one of my crew guys was walking around with a machete from Dawn of the Dead on his head. I said, that's how we do it. We'll have Corey hit him in the head with a machete, but then he falls and slides down the blade. Boy, they love that. And the crowds love it. In fact, that movie is called The Final Chapter because they thought that was going to be the last movie. We're almost at Friday the 13th, part 13 now. But that movie made so much money, that's why there's going to be a Friday the 13th, part 13. Hey, thanks for wearing that shirt. That made me laugh. Yeah, go ahead.
How did you land apart Zach and Gary
How did I land the part in Zach and Mary making porno? Because George Carlin died. That was George Carlin's part. Now they're shooting in Pittsburgh. I live in Pittsburgh, so they called me and I did it. They made me have to look like my dad. My dad was 87 at the time. So that's how I got that Carlin died in the place. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you have much interaction with Dennis Smith?
I'm sorry?
Did you have much interaction with Dennis Smith directing you on that?
Did I have a lot of interview with Kevin Smith? Yeah, because I told him how moved I was watching Chasing Amy. And that speech that Ben Affleck, he said, yeah, he sold that. I mean, that was the greatest speech about the definition of love. So, and Kevin wanted to be a special makeup effects guy. Directing just came out of the blue, But he wanted me, that's the first thing he told me was I wanted to be a makeup artist. So that opened up a whole conversation. That's all I had, yeah.
Worked at a bunch of horror anthologies, Creepshow, Creepshow 2, Evil Eyes, Tales from the Dark Side. What is your favorite segment from those anthology movies? And do you have a favorite horror anthology film personally that you just enjoy to watch?
Yeah, I think Creepshow is one of the best anthology films.
Oh, yeah.
Boring.
What?
That's boring.
Woo!
These missed copies, I stuck my tongue out. What the hell are we talking about? My favorite anthology, yeah. Creepshow. Did you ever see Dead of Night?
Ooh,
That's
yeah.
like one of the best anthologies from British.
Yeah,
British days.
that's a good one.
And Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. That's another great anthology. But my favorite episode, probably the one with Fluffy, because I had never created an animatronic creature before. Fluffy was my first. So I called Rob Bottin and asked him, how do you do that? And he spent 2 hours on the phone explaining how to do an animatronic creature. And that's the only reason Fluffy exists, is because Rob Teen told me how to do it. Yeah, you had a question over here. Yeah, way back there.
I walked in a little late, so I apologize if you answered this already, but when you look back, is there an effect that you've done that you wish you could improve on now? And if so, how would you improve on it?
Every single one I've ever done.
Boring!
We should go on the road, you and I. Just about every single one. Because there's always, listen, if you're an artist, you never know. You have a deadline. Time is up. That's the only reason you're going to stop, is because time is up. I'm sure real artists will continue to change and work, forever. And unfortunately, in this business, there's a deadline. Were you raising your hand? No. Go ahead.
The effects in Western on there, practical effects on the arms, in there, change completely. It's so terrifying. Your company will be working on that as well.
Which effect did it on Dustin?
Yeah, the blood and the rubbers, like one part where the vampire sticks to someone's arm, like that.
Well, I didn't do any of this stuff. People think that I did the makeup effects from Dustin Cohen. I was just an actor in that. In fact, when Fred Williamson picks up all the girls and throws them on the table leg, I said to Greg, I said, shouldn't there be blood on the leg? No, shut the fuck up. That's why I never intruded on him, doing makeup effects. Yeah, go ahead.
Is there a horror movie from recent years that you consider truly frightening?
Have there been any horror movies in recent years? You have to tell me if there was a good horror movie recently. I've seen some. It really affects me when the movie is stupid. And there's so many. It's almost like, don't offend me. I mean, you're insulting my intelligence. Are you crazy? Asking me to believe this? What's a good example? Well, see, I can't think of one. A good horror movie. Well, The Black Phone was pretty creepy, that was, in fact, I said to somebody, I don't buy the fact that the little girl will let her father beat her like that. A little girl who says, Jesus, what the fuck is going on? Is not going to take a beating. But I met an abused woman who said, oh, no, you take it, or it gets worse. So that made me believe, that scene. But that's the only scene that bothered me in that movie. I didn't think it was real, but I was educated. Yeah. 5 minutes, okay. Couple of last questions. Yeah, go ahead.
How did it feel to be honored by this new generation with stuff like Lock and Key, which I know you also made an appearance?
That's funny, Lock and Key. Anybody see Lock and Key?
Yeah, that's good.
I got a phone call from one of my friends. Hey, Tom, I'm watching this show, and they're talking about you. Wait, there you are, okay? Because I was in the second episode. No, that was great fun. I mean, it's always an honor to be recognized. Well, that's what these conventions are about. The reason I love these conventions is this is where you get the appreciation. If you're on the set doing something, when it's over, sometimes the crew will applaud or the director will give you a cricket noise or something. This is where you get the adulation. This is where the fun is. This is where you're like getting the applause from something you did without an audience. So, long answer to your question. Way back there, way back there.
Is there any project movie show that you really want to work on and you never got that explicitly?
Well, there's been quite a few. I'm supposed to direct Pet Cemetery. No, but I thought Mary Campbell did a great job. I wish she could. Is that 20 million? No. Okay. No. So that, I'm sure there's been quite a few stuff that I wanted to work on. But you're out there bidding. Somebody bids lower, they take a chance and go down. Wait, somebody next right there.
I was going to ask the random question about, have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Have I seen what?
Shaun of the Dead.
Say it again?
Shaun of the
Oh,
Dead.
no, I love Shaun of the Dead.
Have you seen it? Then what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, no, listen, Simon Pegg and I are great friends. I love it. It was just a homage to us. It was really.
Did you not do any effects on the ground?
Oh, I did all the effects in the film. No, you're thinking of the movie
Nightmare.
Nightmare, yeah. I've always denied doing the effects on Nightmare. I didn't do the effects on Nightmare. I was there as a consultant. But they put my name on the poster with a box around it. Special makeup effects Tom Savini. The guy who did the effects killed himself. Like 6 months after that movie came out. So that's why I don't even know that Nightmare. Somebody,
Has there ever been a special effect that you haven't had a problem with, or you didn't want to do that they actually forced you to do?
No, nobody forces me to do anything.
Savini, baby. Yeah.
On pre-show, everything I've ever done has worked because you've got take 2, take 3, you keep doing it until it works. But on pre-show, on the Stephen King episode, nothing we tried really worked. I had a hand of blue plants, couldn't get it to work. We couldn't get the green lenses in his eyes because his reflexes were too tight. That didn't work. I had a tongue with the green plants. And I wanted to impress this guy, it's Stephen King, but nothing we tried. So that's the only movie where my stuff didn't work, and that was on Stephen King and pre-show. I'm sure that's time for another one, yeah.
This one's a little bit more personal.
I can't hear you.
This one's a little bit more personal.
Personal question. You have to ask permission here.
What was one of the last things George Romero told you that really stuck with you before his passing?
The last thing that George, well, he looked at me. He was accepting an award in Pittsburgh, and he couldn't climb the steps because of how bad his health was. And he looked really bad. I was sitting with Greg Nicotero, like right here. I was sitting with Greg Nicotero, and Greg saw me start to cry a little bit, and grab my leg, and he was kind of upset the way George looked. And George looked right at me, and he said, "We're going to be doing this in 20 years, right, Tom?" So my expression was one of utter sadness, but trying to be cheerful for him. And he died like a month later, I think. Right, Marty? Yeah, Marty was there, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was something, but I was at a convention with George and they were selling dolls of him. I bought 3 of them. So we were going to a panel and I said, "George, if this was 1970, what would you think if somebody told you, hey, you're going into a big arena where somebody is selling dolls of him?" That's what All right, okay, we gotta wrap it up. One question. Nobody? Yeah, go ahead.
Second year to make a porno. How'd you land in that?
I can't understand a word you're saying. What?
Jack and Mary make a porno, how did you manage that?
Oh, okay, somebody else done it. Zach and Yuri make a porno. No, that was George Carlin. I'm thinking of, oh, God.
We were talking about the storage unit.
That's right, I got that part because George Carlin actually. But I did another movie, I'm trying to think of it. Give me a second to clear my head here. That was where I played the guy who owned the storage unit.
Yes.
Oh, the other one was I was the photographer in a John Landis movie. Marty, help me out, John Landis. Innocent Blood.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I was the photographer because
Good horror comedy, dark
I don't know,
comedy.
Dario Argento or somebody couldn't show up. So that was a bad last question. What's the next? Not because of me, not because of you. I need one last question, quick. Yeah. No? Okay, yes, way down there.
What was your favorite creation for you?
What was my favorite creation that I created? That's got to be fluffy. No, I can't say it. Because they're all my children, The Grandpa Makeup and Texas Chainsaw, Fluffy, Lizzie from Tales from the Dark Side. Yeah, all of those are my favorites. So we got to wrap it up. Okay, hey, thank you.